You're listening to the VRverse, a virtual reality podcast where two friends talk all things VR. Now, let's join your hosts, the VR Realm and Dr. Oculus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36. Close. Of the VR.
Down by 20.
Yep.
30.
30. We're both mathing well today. Welcome to episode 36 of the VRverse. You think by the 36 episodes I'd be used to doing an introduction, but nah. So,
Just call it a year.
yeah. As usual, I'm joined by the lovely co-host Dr. Oculus. And
Me? Lovely.
But
Yeah.
that time of the year again, where we're going to be doing our game awards for the podcast.
It is. And what a year it has been, really, hasn't it? Like every single year I feel like, wow, this has just been a crazy year. And then every year after that, I'm like, wow, this has been even crazier. Like picking this year has been so incredibly difficult because we've just had so much great content, especially at the back end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. It was a hard time for me. It took a lot of thought and effort, and then I just picked everything that was released in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I was luckily because most of the things I've played I've reviewed on the VRrealm.com, so I was just like, for me, I just looked at the reviews I've done this year and I was like, I need to decide between these games in each category, which
Smart.
useful. I mean, some games I haven't reviewed,
The VR realm.
but that I've made a list. But at first I was like, I'll scroll through here and pick ones that I've reviewed. It's good. It would work. Hopefully, and it did. I think the best thing to do first is put a caveat out there. Obviously, if you haven't listened to our awards before, is you might think we've missed some of the big hitters in December, but we run it from the 1st of December 23 to the 30th of November 24. So December's games aren't included in this one because obviously it's so close. We need everything planned and ready. So just so if you've sat there thinking these idiots missed a massive game, don't worry. We might miss it next year and we can call us idiots next year, but
Yeah, that's fine.
and
the thing is, yeah, if we do miss a game, especially one of the good ones, it's honestly, it's not that we dislike the game in any way, shape, or form. It's that there's a number of different reasons. As mentioned earlier, very tough year, very, very good things have happened.
oh yes.
But also, just because you've thrown like $1 million at a game doesn't mean you're going to get an award from us. We like innovation, we like style, character, and just labors of love. So it counts for a lot with us.
Does your webcam keep turning off on my OBS?
I wondered that. So yeah, it's not necessarily a reflection on the game itself. And as mentioned, there have been some fantastic releases just over the last few weeks. You're not going to see them. Behemoth, not going to make it to these lists.
No.
Remind us next year and we'll see where we are. But at this point in time, nowhere near.
Yeah. Yeah, if you think like Doc said, if you think we've missed something, I think there's something we've missed, especially if you're watching this back on YouTube. Leave in the comments those games you think deserve the award. If you're watching it live, drop them in the chat. If you think, what about this one? You should I like this one, blah blah. Just it won't change our mind, but we like to hear your opinions.
Yeah. It's nice to know that you were wrong and the internet to point it out en masse. That's always welcome. And then also we would say, well, if you think we got it wrong, why didn't you vote for it in our Viewers' Choice Award?
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the options that's available as well. So I don't think I know the results of that one, so I'm curious. We'll see, I suppose. But how are you, man? Before we get kicked off with everything, all good in the realm?
Yeah, can't complain. Everything getting very close to that time of year.
Yeah. It's
I'm not a very
craziest time of year for me.
not a very Christmas person, so it's like when everyone at work is all yay, Christmas, yay, do all this. I'm just like, oh, can I just not do my job? Like, please.
That's a benefit to Christmas. Some people don't have to work during the festive period.
Yeah.
I work in retail, so it's insane for me, and Christmas is not a holiday because, non-Christian people exist. So yeah, it's nuts for me, but it's what you sign up for, isn't it? You kind of
Yeah.
expect everything to be quiet by about February.
You can try and get
Ish.
the holiday if you want off. Where in banking where I work, but I just never bother. I always feel I take it away from someone who's got kids, I'd feel so guilty. Like if I got it and someone who had kids didn't get it, I'd just give them in the end. So just don't even try apply for it. I just leave it.
Why should you be punished? Because they can't administer birth control. That's neither here nor there. Children are our future. We're doomed.
Yes. And how are you? Are you doing good? Are you all prepared?
Yeah, I am. I don't know. This seems to have come around. Well, naturally, it is a lot quicker than it normally is, but kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I don't know, but it's yeah. I'm eager to sort of get into it, get the feedback from what people think, and to throw some light at some of the games of the VR world that we've been playing over the last year, which anybody watches me knows I'm playing games that were released like 4 years ago. So I can't even put them in these awards, but I've been having a great time. So yeah, I'm that guy. I occasionally I've still not played Trombone Champ yet.
Oh.
I own it, but I've never played it. I've so many. I've not even considered Behemoth. Batman, I've done 4 hours off. Like I need more time in the day and less time at work, I guess is my thing. But well, it's the price you pay, isn't it, for the fun things?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I finished Behemoth on Quest. Beat the second one on
doing it like, oh yeah, I just rolled credits on Behemoth on the PC and the Quest and the PlayStation version. I'm like, is it really that good that we need to play it 3 times? I guess you'll have to head to the VRrealm.com and find out.
beat on the Quest. Out to the second one on PlayStation and led up to the first one on PC. Because I asked for the Quest version to review, so I thought I'm going to review that version. And then got PlayStation and PC, and I thought I just want to see how all that's going to be different is the visuals. So I might as well just go in and play so far, see what it look like.
I had mixed things about the game in general. Like some people that had played a Quest demo was like, wow, that turkey ain't done. It needs to go back in the oven because that's not great. And then there are other people that I think had played on like PSVR and they're like, this game is amazing. I can't wait for it to release. And so I honestly don't know whereabouts that game is now. But I mean, nobody's telling me that it's properly. Like, I don't see people screaming about, oh yeah, this needs a patch at this point in time, so presumably it's fine.
Yeah, I think a lot of the day one patches seem to fix what issues people are having before then. Some people like me, I played it with no issues. I didn't find. I think I had one like crash on the Quest where it just closed the game. But people were saying like it was constantly doing it for them. I was just like, it sounded like Switchback all over again. Some people got an alright experience when it released, and some people got a terrible experience when it released.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a shame, but then again, we all have standards, and this is why reviews are very subjective.
Yeah.
It's sometimes people really dig it, and sometimes people not so much.
Yep.
Go for what you know.
Before we get,
me, I'm a doctor.
Before we get on with this year, what we doing this for the first time this year, we're going to talk about our most anticipated game for next year. So let's start with an award for 2025. Before
yeah, that is certainly a good place to start, I suppose.
Yeah. So for myself, as soon as it was announced, this game is like being one. Can't wait to come out, and that is Moonhouse's The Midnight Walk. I'm one who likes a very visual artsy fartsy type game, and seeing this is all stop motion, sort of Tim Burton style. I was like, this is gonna be right down my alley. I need to play this. I mean, it might come out and it might be a bad experience, but I need to see this in VR. I need to see this stop motion.
Yes, I know. I completely agree. That was very like close for me too. Was that announced in September?
I think it was at the one of the upload showcases. I think it came out on.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I have vivid memories of that game that are tied to my year, in that I'm literally sat in San Francisco, where, in fact, no, it was a PlayStation thing,
yeah,
right?
it was one of the state of players, because at the moment,
Yeah.
if you're looking on PC, it doesn't even say it's got VR support on PC. I'm wondering, is it
Yeah,
going to be?
We're walking around downtown San Fran, and we were like, we need somewhere to go and watch this PlayStation event.
Yeah.
And so we just find this weird Irish bar in the middle of nowhere with like 3 people and a dog sat at the back, and we all just plunk our phones down on the desk, and we're all just watching this and just like shout down to the other side of us and talking to it. There's about 6 of us just sat in this bar, just all of us VR nerds, and all just sort of taking in this this PlayStation showcase. And I saw that and I was like, okay, that looks special.
Yeah.
Fast Travel Games, I want to say.
Fast Travel Games are publishing it. It's made by Moonhood Games.
Yeah, because didn't they make not Dicey Dungeon? They made another one that was announced for VR. The VR support seems to have vanished. I'm sure they did. I don't know whether it was like a flat to VR thing or what, but they made another game, and I saw it and I was like, oh great, I own that game already. Hopefully it's a patch.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is. I'll have to have a look into it and see if I can figure it out. But I love the look of that game in a big bad way. I think like you, instantly I was drawn to it. But then you picked that, and I thought, okay, well, let's go for something different for mine.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I was just like I said, it's just the art style. There's a bit of like a trailer sort of give you an idea of the story you need to keep light on and stuff, but I was just like, that's all I know about it. And I was just like, but the visuals sold it to me straight away. I was like, I need to see this in VR. These monsters screaming at me. These look massive in the trailer.
It's. I mean, to me, it's like, and I don't know whether it will or will not work, but the Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
Now I know you can UEVR them, and if you put yourself in the head of the character, naturally it just doesn't work because you're not supposed to see off to the sides. But I just love the idea of seeing that world in a decent 3D situation.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm down for that in a big bad way.
And what are you looking forward to most next year? I know you said I stole the Midnight Walk.
So the other thing for me then is Ghost Town. I don't remember when this was announced because, like you say, there was like a million different showcases and events and things this year.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard, but it's the people who Fireproof Games.
Yeah.
So they made the likes of The Room, and I think, did they make Firewatch? Was it?
No, that was
I can't remember
Campo
now.
Santo or something like that made.
Yeah, I know that they made The Room, and The Room to me is the gold standard of like puzzle escape type games in VR. So when I hear they're making a new single player puzzle adventure game, I'm in. Like, vast wait, actually, I have. Here you go. Take my money. Take it. All the monies. I'm never going to see that money again. Yeah, take it. Like, it's all good. I want that game in a big, big, big bad way. And there's plenty of other honorable mentions that I was like, ooh, I want Wanderer because I can't wait for Wanderer. We've been waiting for Wanderer. It's been delayed numerous times, but perfection takes time, so we don't care. Yeah, like so many different games coming soon.
Say, we're Wanderer. When I was first making my list, that was my choice, and it was only it's just. I think the day after I was sat downstairs, have my tea, and I was like, just pop my the Midnight Walk.
Yeah.
Until then, Wanderer was down as mine for next year.
Yeah, and I can't wait for that. I'm a little confused as to what it is, but then again, also they announced the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a remake of The Wanderer? Like, it didn't need it, but all of a sudden I think they realized there was a bunch of stuff that they could do, and were like, oh yeah, no, let's just completely remake the game how we wish we could with the knowledge and the money that we now have.
Yeah, I guess it's like a remake. They're putting a few new like gameplay features in, but it's had overhaul for. I mean, it looked lovely anyway. Like when I first played it, I said it's the most complete VR experience I've had since Half-Life Alyx when I've played the first one. I was like that impressed by it, and now I'm just like I just want to see it through visuals, few extra little bits
I
of
got
gameplay.
So far, and then they announced the Fragments of Fate, and I was like, okay, brilliant. I'm gonna stop playing this because that's gonna be out in X amount of months. And then it didn't come, but I never finished the original because I was waiting. I wish I did finish the original because I will have. Oh, hello! I will have forgotten by now what to do, but I'm still very much looking forward to that game. And as I say, they can take all the time they need because I dig that game in a big bad way.
Yeah, with Ghost Town, I completely forgot what it was. And then you mentioned it as and I was like, I know I've heard the name, and I know I've seen it, something about it. And when I opened it, I was like, yeah, I understand. It's somebody else's puzzle game, and made by the studio that's made the best puzzle game in VR already. So I was like, this makes sense.
The House of Da Vinci was kind of giving me the vibe of The Room and things like that when I was playing that the other week, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. I've got rose-colored glasses about The Room. I don't know whether it's as good as I remember it being. But anybody that asks me, I'm like, yeah, you need to play this. Whether you've got a Quest, PC, whatever, you need to play The Room. So the thought that, yeah, it's House of Da Vinci maybe lacked a little bit of polish, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
To that. And so the thought that the people that made The Room are now making another puzzle adventure game, I'm just, that's it.
House of Da Vinci, for me, it was a bit fiddly with you could like try and turn something with your finger, and then you take your finger off, but it you'd still just manage to catch it, and it'd like turn loads. It was like, no, I'm just trying to get this in line.
That's it. There's a little bit of, you can kind of get it's obvious the game is a port.
Yeah.
But you kind of get the vibe of they're just trying a thing. And God bless them, they did a great job at trying a thing. And with a little bit more prior thought into the VR world before making the game, they could make a flawless puzzle game.
Yeah.
I will watch that studio with great intent because I do quite like what I've played so far, apart from the occasional bits of jank. And I've seen another couple of people playing it with the occasional bits of jank that led them to restart an entire area, which was unfortunate. But yeah, I did quite like that. It may have made it onto this list if it was released prior to December.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been I'm the one who's never played The Room because I never used to really be big on puzzle games. Like, I like the likes of Iron Worlds ones, like Myst and stuff like that, but I never really took to one properly. So, well, at the time when that came out, I hadn't really taken to one properly, and I was just like, it seems like it's a long word. It's like going to be a long time for me, that game. But I should really try it now. Like, I've got more into them.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I don't know if I have a key for it somewhere, but if I do, then you are getting it and you are playing that game. Dang it, because you really should. It's awesome.
Yeah,
and a bit spooky.
Spooky.
Mm.
Speaking about Cyan World games, our first award is for best music and musical score in a game. 2024, and he said 25 then. And with Cyan Games, we give it to Riven. Came out this year. Got fantastic music, as Cyan World's games always do. I mean, they're long and they need a good musical score in the background because they take a while.
They are absolutely exquisite games to both play and to just experience and even watch as well. Visually, they're quite stunning.
Yeah.
To look at. There's a good bit of sort of running around and faffing around with them, but once you sort of get the way the puzzles are going and things like that, they can just enthrall you in a big bad way. And they are, as you all know, they're remakes and they've dabbled in VR quite a lot. Cyan Worlds really are kind of, they've released some tentpole VR games.
Yeah.
When it comes to you've got Riven, Mist, Firmament, Obduction, all just outstanding worlds that you can climb into, get completely engulfed in, and then if you're a puzzle fan like me, that's just like crack. Like, they're brilliant for that kind of thing. So I love Cyan Worlds. I will support them every which way I can. Because they're doing great things for both VR and puzzle people such as myself.
Yeah. After playing Riven is a soundtrack I've even had playing on Spotify every now and then. It's their soundtrack because, they're very classical scores and are always well done. They're always suit the games that they make. Not like the music seems out of place. And it just keeps you, I think, music plays a very important part for games like them, like puzzle games, because you need to keep them engaged with the sound as well. Just kind of silence while someone can say pulling their hair out, but I can't do that.
It can, and music can also subtly be used to guide the player. May it be just something to sort of bring to your attention, oh, something in the world has changed. Or if there is something that you need to pay attention to, music can be that guide. It can also let you know that things aren't going well and you need to do something faster. It's just such a key and element to a puzzle game that you don't even think of. And like even the likes of Cubism, the music was a little repetitive, but even that, what they did in that game, like when you got so close to putting when you were going to put the final piece in, the music would all of a sudden just go really, really quiet. It's low down. And just that moment of just like a slot of the final piece. And then the music would come back again. And it's way more important to a puzzle game than you may think.
Yeah. You can even set like the feeling, like just say, for example, you said the room could get a bit spooky at times. If the music changes, that can also suit that situation. It can also be like, oh, like put you on edge. It can make you happy. It can. It's just, I think it's just plays an important part in any game, not even just puzzle games. If it needs music, like really good, and it's something that you notice when the games. I don't know whether you do it. It's something I notice when I'm playing games. I can completely. Sometimes you can really notice. Hold on, this game's not got music. Like, does it?
It leaves like a void in the game that can not always help it.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like where's that music? I can't hear it. Like it can take away from the game as much as it can make a game as well. If the music isn't right, you've got some more intense music. That's not when you're in a chilled area. It's gonna make gonna waste.
Yeah. Yeah, it's music and well, we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, it's I don't want to say it's not possible to enjoy games without it, because
No.
there are a number of in my previous life with Wuja, I got to see how the product helped the deaf community, and it was the most wonderful thing in the world. Seeing them be able to interact with stuff because they can feel the sound, it was absolutely amazing. And they will tell you as much as anybody else that audio plays such a huge role in gaming. It can, like you said, it can change the feel of an area. There's some great like shorts out there of people changing the music in a movie and things like that.
Yeah.
And that is something else that's just like, oh wow, this really sets the scene for this and changes the context. It's superb to see it done well.
Yeah.
Or hear it well.
Yeah. I think another thing that's obviously important. Well, I wouldn't say it's important. I've played some games that don't look visually great, but they're still fantastic games. But I think our next award's going to be Best Art Direction. And I think in my head, can make a game stand out, be unique, the art style. It might not be the most visually impressive, but the art direction can make them, again, just make it stand out from the crowd. I think someone's from the past that have done a great, like Kin. Kin is a very simple game. And
I can't remember whether it was this year or not, and I fear if I mention it, people will realize that that's not going to be the the award. But the Big Shots,
yeah,
Gazlers,
yeah,
great visual styles.
Yeah. Well, Mare's one of like looks like game by name. The guy does Ico and Child of the Colossus, and that's just, it's like you're like in a painting, and it's just, again, they're not like games where you're like, oh wow, look at the quality of like the detail in those textures and stuff, because some of them are just simple block colors, but it can still make the game.
Yeah, it can absolutely.
And for our best art direction for this year, it's gone to one Hamza, who made Racket Fury, was it? What was not Racket Fury?
Are you
Long way have to break the walls.
Are you saying another one of their games, or are you?
Yeah, I'm saying another one. Saying another one of their games. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
I honestly can't remember. Yeah, it was Racket Fury.
It was Racket Fury, yeah.
Now you've got me.
Yeah, I was thinking Racket Fury was like a ping pong one. Anyway, I maybe should have thought of that before I said it. But anyway, one Hamza won it with him.
I love that game as well.
Yeah.
Now you've lost me. Right. Okay. See ya. Yeah. It's. Oh, I know exactly what you're on about as well, because it's the one that I played in the garden. You're in like a dome, and the ball, you stood in the middle, and the ball's almost on like a string.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great game. Why can't I remember it? That's one of my favorite games too. I hate that you've done this to me.
I hate that I've done it to myself, because I was like, I could have said it without that. But in my head, I was like, that's not Racket Fury.
It's not Racket Fury, but it's something close.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Sorry, guys, we're gonna have to figure this out. One Hamza.
I'm googling it while as we speak. I feel like it's like a one-letter thing.
I got their I got their Discord, and it's all about the game that's going to get the award, and not the other one's not mentioned anywhere.
It's absolutely fine. I will find it. If you want to Go ahead and put the people out of their never-ending misery.
Get rid of this tension. So one Hammer's game, Underdogs, won this award. Again,
Racket NX. You were close.
Racket was right. I mean, it should have been in the ball of a racket, but anyway, it was. Underdogs. Now this is a game where I know we've just talked about the importance of music, but I wasn't a fan of the music in this one because I'm not really a fan of that type of music. I mean, it suited the game. Don't get me wrong, it suited the game, but I wasn't like, but the art style, fantastic. Again, more cel shady, more bold colours, but done in a gritty, grimy way, which
it gave you a feel of like a dystopian future. Of that. Well, for those of you that don't know about Underdogs is a mech game set in the future, sort of like a chappy kind of, you are a person inside of a mech and you're fighting in an arena. The art style is very like there's comic book sections between the fights, which are very, very nice. Whilst they are essentially flat panels, they're also 3D.
Yeah.
Which look fantastic to you in the headset. To the viewer on streams and things like that, sadly, they don't get that effect, but in headset, they look stunning.
Yeah.
There is a story involved, and then you go in and you are playing and fighting different things in the arena, and the style there, as we said, it's kind of almost like a shade of green. Like it's kind of like a sewerage kind of green tinged dystopian cyberpunkish future where enhancements are kind of a thing, and it's such a great, it's very physical. If you want to get fit, then there are many different ways to do it, but by all means give that game a look because it will certainly get you swinging, but you not realize you're doing it. So I very much enjoyed that game and completely agree. The art style was wonderfully unique. Even on Quest, I still had a great time visually with that game.
Yeah, and the PlayStation VR people, I think they've announced it's coming to PlayStation VR soon, next year. So
I thought it was out, wasn't it?
No,
or was that PC that came out?
PC came out. Quest and PC. I think they've announced this year that it's coming to PlayStation. I don't know if Perp Games and put it onto PlayStation, like publishing it on PlayStation. Maybe I remember seeing a thing about it.
Would possibly make sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I like when they first announced it and they were showing the thing. I thought, ooh, with the arts, like even with the art style, I was like, and it was roguelike, and at the time we were getting hammered with them. But then once you're in there, I was like, this looks fantastic. The art style works with virtual reality. Sort of like a grimy Borderlands-esque type feeling to it. Apart from it's a lot darker, not in your, like I said, it's more grimy. The colours aren't as bright as Borderlands, but it's got that feel of the visual style to it.
The cel shading's not as prominent in this. The lines aren't as thick and dense.
Yeah,
it's still very good, sort of visually. Just it's kind of hard to compare it to something else.
Yeah. What I'll do now moving forward, I'll try and not mention previous games by other people. Oh, look, give it a nice little touch. Gives the other game a shout out when I say the complete wrong game. Oh, well.
I just had a very weird moment where I thought this was the time I found out that Billy Connolly was dead. Good news, people. Whilst he is trending, is because he said something interesting. He's not dead. We are announcing these on Twitter live as well, so I'm just trying to keep track of them and make sure they're going out.
Yeah.
When I saw that at the side of Twitter, I was like, oh dear God, not Billy Connolly. The world, like the fact that he's retired, it's a sadder place, but for good reasons, and dude deserves a break. But I was like, please don't die, not now.
Not why I'm
Anyway,
live.
sorry, back to the show.
I'll just move on to the next one. Doc alluded that something was coming up after the Riven one, and that's the audio design. Again, different to the music and score, just audio, the way that can set the right feeling for a game. And for me, there was only one winner this year. Like, this was one I instantly knew what was going forward for it.
Yeah, we do these award shows and we throw it out to each other as like, this is what I think for this, and this is what I think for this. And this is one that I think we crossed over on before we even gave our answers for.
Yeah.
Because we were both instantly blown away by the audio on this. I can remember streaming the game and just being like, they've nailed the audio on this. Like, the atmosphere, the environment is set so perfectly well that they've done a superb job. And once again, whether you're playing on a basic Quest with just the 2 speakers right in front of your ears, or if you're using some fancy headphones, you still have an amazing audio experience with this game.
Yeah. Do you want to give it an announce? You want to announce this one?
So yes, this game is probably no shock to many of you. You probably expect it to show up a bit further in the awards as well. But the best audio design from the VRverse podcast for 2024, the award goes to Metro Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tour de force. You could see, like I was saying at the top of the show, it's not always about who throws the money, but the people that put the time, the effort, and the care in. And the time and the effort and the care has clearly gone into this game. It's very, very easy to take an existing franchise and fuck it up.
Yeah.
And clearly they were very aware of that, but they did what they needed to do, and they absolutely nailed it. From a little bit of what I know, so was it Amsterdam? Because Vertigo is actually split into 2 different studios, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the studio that were working on this, I think they may have been working on this, like they started after The Fall and Metro at the same time.
Mm.
And After the Fall has been out for quite some time, and we just got Metro. But that time effort, it really, really shows.
Yeah.
They did great things with the audio on that one.
Like, even just, I've never had a game. I mean, 3D audio is fantastic, and a lot of games do well with it, but I've never had a game as like this one where I can tell exactly where the enemy is precisely. Like, one of them would run into the vent and you could tell which of a vent they were going to come out of. Like, you could hear them around the whole room, like the noises, and it was like, right, they're coming out of that vent over there. Like, they're just,
the walls are alive in that game, and it's all done through audio. There's no other way of knowing. It's all audio.
Yeah.
A thing that really showed me how important the audio was. During one of my streams, I had a bit of an audio glitch where, not the software, my hardware, and I was getting weird audio feedback, and I was like, well, the show must go on, I'll soldier on. And I'm like, I cannot soldier on. I'm going to get rinsed if I keep trying to just forge forward with this in the way that it is. It's absolutely essential. And then there are times in it which I believe they may have optionally patched out now, but there are certain things in that game that occasionally crawl and jump and
oh yeah, yes they have, yeah.
Just even that, it's like, oh my god, they're in my ears.
Yeah, they've put off, like, they've put a mode so you can turn them off.
Yeah, the arachnophobia mode is the. let's just be honest. Like, no spoilers at this point in time. The game's been out long enough. There are spiders, and they are creepy as balls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like spiders. I'm not massively afraid of them, but that just gives you the heebie-jeebies, and that's just down to really, really great audio design.
Yeah.
In fact, the audio design is that good. Every now and again, I used to be like, because I thought I could hear stuff in my house, and it wasn't. It was just in the headset that sounded as if it was like muffled and far away, and just it was absolutely exquisite. And yeah, me and Paul, like if we did a thing where it was like, say your audio design on 3, we would have in unison just said Metro.
Yeah, there was like no discussion needed on that one. But yeah, I think, like I said as well, the whole atmosphere, you know, it's creepy. Set the tone right. Even times I was jumping at the fact steam was going out of one of the pipes when you're walking past it. I was like, because it was at like.
yeah. It's. I cannot. Well, I can and will gush at great lengths about that game if you let me, and I've not even completed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is definitely one that you should be considering if you are either new to or you've got yourself a VR headset and you're wondering what to get. Maybe you got a little bit of Christmas cash. It's worth the money.
Yeah,
it is,
and it's currently on sale on the Quest. If you got a Quest till the 6th of January. Can't remember how much is off it. I know they said the sale had up to 50% off games. I don't think that's one that got 50%, but it is currently on sale. I can tell you that.
I will take a look for you.
I tried to take a look earlier today, and they just said purchase, and I couldn't be bothered going in and saying I'll gift it to someone just to see how much it cost, how much it was reduced by.
You, my friend, need incognito mode. So it's currently 20% off on Steam, retailing at £27.99. So that's worth a mention. And on the Meta Quest is a Steam link, which normally I'm all over on these shows, but like I said, today's just kind of caught me off guard. It's a bit weird. But on the Meta Store, it is currently loading. $23.99, down from $34.99. So that's a big discount indeed. So go ahead, save yourself some cash, have a great time, enjoy on us. We thoroughly recommend. That's a terrible, terrible link. But there we go. That's what you get.
Yeah, it's definitely one. Even though it's just not the audio, it was a great game as in a whole. In a whole.
It's a great game in the whole, yes.
Yeah. Oh god. English.
Soon be Christmas.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely check this one. Check this one. Check that one out.
And hold. Not discounted on PlayStation. Sorry.
So, well, there's sound, visuals. Sometimes not every game needs a narrative, but sometimes games have very good narratives. Tell a story well. Some short, some longer. Might get a Mare tells a good story in its 2 hours without even speaking any words of English. Just speaking.
Last year, this award went to Before Your Eyes by Goodbye World. It was a fantastic narrative and one that certainly made you think and feel and experience emotions.
Yeah, but dry your eyes. That again, what wasn't a long. Well, that was more of an experience, which I mean, it wasn't an experience to be played multiple times, where you can, especially with the eye tracking and
blind yourself.
Knowing you can't, like you can blink and miss a whole important part, like
literally.
Yeah. Then you could go back and try and see it again. This year, it's gone to a game that's a bit longer. Actually got a really good story. It's a game as you expect with a longer. It is a RPG strategy game from Square Enix that came over to VR. It was Switch came out one. originally, and then the VR'd it basically, and that is triangle strategy. Very long story about wars and people trying to take power. A lot of audio narrative in it as well. A lot of talking. I think
It looks, because I've not played this game. It's not a game that massively jumps out to me as like, oh yeah, this is one that's definitely in my wheelhouse. I honestly didn't even realize the game existed until you mentioned it. But it looks as if it would be a 2D isometric kind of RPG game in the flat world, but in VR, it looks like they've kind of brought some elements into 3D, but then left some elements in 2D,
yeah. So like
which is an interesting choice.
you're exploring, you're fighting, and like 3 phases that move into the it's like a 3D ice. It's basically making one of those isometric RPGs 3D. Still got the 2D sprites and stuff like that. Very interesting. And then a lot of the narrative and story between it plays out on like a scroll, goes into like a big screen mode with a scroll basically, and plays out in that.
And looking at the game itself, it looks as if it plays on a table. So is that MR as well?
MR, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Immerse yourself in mixed reality using the Quest pass-through.
Yeah.
So
if you play VR, it sort of like puts a meadowy type thing in the background, like a painted meadow type design.
Yeah.
If you play it in MR, so you see in your room around it.
That certainly looks quite like I'm getting Brick Tales vibes, but obviously turn-based combat.
Yeah.
From it.
If you haven't played it and you think it's down your alley, just beware that the first 6 hours is just a lot of watching. It's like a 6-hour tutorial basically, and it picks up after that.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
It picks up after that where you get a lot more walking about and a lot more fighting with the story in between. But the first 6 hours is sort of bringing all the character and all the turmoil in and stuff, and teaching, giving you lessons on how to use all the features on it. It's always the one I like to put out there because obviously I know some people won't like that. But I think if you're buying this, you already know and what RPG strategy games are like. Compared to standard RPGs where you still get quite a bit of talk in them, but with these it's a lot about the story, a lot to learn because it's about how to move your characters, how to perform the attacks, how to make the best use of battlefields and stuff. How you want characters to mainly be, and I mean the fights some of the fights later on can take 30-40 minutes to do. It's like just a lot of thinking and figuring out.
Mm-hmm.
But the story's good. Like I said, it's a very long story. There's a lot goes on in it with the amount of narrative and thought in it. Luckily, 90% of the lines in it are actually voice acted lines. There's very little times you have to actually read what they're saying. Sometimes you do.
Okay,
in
that's
a few
generally
scenes, but a lot of it is actually spoken.
That is very helpful because nobody wants to read in VR, and so rightly so. I was saying to somebody earlier that, especially when you're streaming, the last thing you need is somebody to be just sat there essentially reading vast quantities of text. Unless you're good with voices, like putting different voices on makes it good for people to listen to. But generally, as a rule, it's kind of
like I have seen people use like Lady Taito when she does one where it's got a lot of voice in. She actually uses a voice changer, so she'll on the stream deck and just press it and change your voice for each character, which I think is a good way to do it.
Apart from us in VR that can't faff around with a Stream Deck because we are over there or something.
And it's also, you've got to be able to read.
Well, that can be helpful, yes.
Read well.
The ability to actually read.
The amount of times I put words in that shouldn't be in there just because I'm reading it and I'm just reading how I want it to be read. And I'm like, no, that didn't even say that. You just chuck a random word, change the word in.
Reading is hard.
Yeah. Someone has to write and proofread my articles. My reading is terrible.
Well, that's the problem, because when you're doing your own thing, then you're like, oh, I know what this says. And so you fill in the blanks a second time, and then it ends up getting through like, I need AI or something to read my stuff and be like, yeah, no, this doesn't make any sense, dude. And then I'll be able to put it right. But
yeah, it's like a bit behind the scenes when I do write my reviews, when I proofread them. I like see how I've worded something, and I'm like, I need to swap those words around because clearly should be read that way. But when I've been typing it, it's just gone through my head in a way as I'm saying it to myself, and then I'm like, oh, actually, I should have, like, these two words maybe should have ended the sentence rather than being like before these words, and yeah, it gets a bit.
It can be. I'm glad that the world and dictation is becoming a thing, because I very much enjoy that feature on many different products these days.
Yeah.
So that's good. Speaking of products with many features, our next award you might think is a little bit cheating, because this game originally came out in early access about 6 years ago. But it saw a full release today. Or not today, but this year it saw a full release. The next category is the best community support. A game that has seen the community drive creativity that has both fueled the developer, financed the developer, but also created such a huge community that even if you don't like the game, it's hard not to know of its existence.
Yeah. It's one I've played a bit when it came out. I watched some people playing it and then thought, this looks fun. And then I enjoyed it for a bit, but then it just wasn't. I know it's massively changed, and I got it when it first came out in early access, so it's like changed massively since then and got story to it and all sorts if you want it and things.
That's it. It's something that I always felt was missing because I'm not very creative, but I have seen some amazing content made.
Yeah.
Using just this game and the mods involved. Content that would rival that of a Disney show. Yeah. It really is great. And at times, I'm surprised Disney haven't issued the content creators with like a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Because it's astonishing what they've done with it. Those of you that haven't quite figured it out yet, we are talking about a game that realistically needs no introduction. It's got everything you could ever want, and I don't think there's anything that I could say about this that will truly show you its pure power.
No.
So the best community support is...
Do it.
The best community support goes to Blade and Sorcery. Blade and Sorcery is available. It came out on full release this year in June on the PC, and in the Meta Quest it also has a Nomad version, meaning that you don't have to be stuck to a PC to use it. Also released this year, full release as well. Currently no discounts on this, £25 on the Meta store, and it is £25 on the Steam store as well. Probably shows up on Viveport and whatnot, but who uses those? So congratulations to the developers of Blade and Sorcery, whose name Warp Frog escaped me for a moment. Yeah. Congratulations to them. They've created not just a sandbox of joy for many people. I'm pretty confident there are YouTubers that have bought houses because of this game. And it's just absolutely astounding what they've done there. It was just a make your own joy sandbox for a while. But as Paul mentioned earlier, it has gotten that little bit more crazy ever since. I need to go back to it. If you say that there is a reason for me to play it more than just a sandbox, fantastic, because that's kind of what I want from games. But all of the physics and everything in there, the Boneworks was almost like a physics VR demo, but Blade and Sorcery just kind of took it to another level. And the community drove that in a big bad way. Giving you like freaking Jedi powers. And if you haven't seen the Mandalorian like video that was made, I can't remember. Presumably that's how you just quoted in
the chat. Yeah, that
in chat.
If you want to know what's possible with Blade and Sorcery on a creative front, this guy does trailers for. I think the last one he did was Hellfighter's trailer and stuff, and he's just
it's amazing.
Hell Drivers, sorry,
zero fuck.
He's fantastic with everything he does.
Yeah, I don't care about Blade and Sorcery, but that content I watch all day. It is amazing. So well choreographed. They clearly know the tools, but it's just astounding, and that wouldn't have been possible without Blade and Sorcery, a game that the community is just absolutely behind, and they're behind the community as well. They've done a great job. Well done, Warfrog.
Yeah, that guy there as well. Like, this was. I mean, Ubisoft did a good job with Assassin's Creed, but if you watch his Assassin's Creed thing he made in Blade and Sorcery, oh my god, that's what you would have want from it.
Yes,
Jesus, like, it's unbelievable. But yeah, well done, Blade and Sorcery. Definitely worth it. Moving on from community supported game to ongoing games supported by developers. This last year we give this to Pistol Whip. Well deserved. They release campaigns and all new single tracks and stuff. They really do support their game, and they still do. Coming up,
they do. Absolutely, they're. It was one that I think you and I It was a shock, but we unanimously agreed. That was the game that had been. I think we created the category. Purely for it, because we were like, this needs some attention. They need, because games get a release, and there's always that moment where every single content creator is playing it for 5 minutes, and then it disappears. And we just wanted to shed a bit of light on that game that is long past its release date, but it's still getting content from the developer, and it's doing very, very well.
And again, I think it's quite hard not to give this award to anything but Rhythm Games, because they're the ones that keep the content rolling on a frequent basis over a year. I know some people will drop DLC for extra missions or extra what, but this year it's gone to Work Smash Drums. This is a game I love and play a lot still. He's released four track packs over this year. What I like about what they do there is they do it across 6 songs it goes across all different genres. Like obviously one that's 2 drums, but you'll have, which ones did he release this year? Pop Legends, Hard Rock Legends, Metal Legends. He just went through and it keeps it open for everyone. I mean, it has quite an impressive array of music in the base game already. Like, it's a good mix.
Oh, it absolutely does, yeah.
And this year he's let's have a look. What we got this year? This year we got Punk Rock Legends, Hard Rock Legends, Pop Rock Legends, Metal Legends, and I thought 4 was the end of it. But he did drop one a couple of days ago. 2000s Rock Legends.
I saw that, yeah.
And I was just
The
like,
2000s Rock Legends.
yeah, which shocked me because I thought he'd be done with the 4 from he'd done already. Dropping a 5th shocked me.
Yeah, the new pack includes Song 2 by... Wow. Okay, yeah, this is a pack you need to buy. Song 2 by Blur, Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, Fallout Boys, Thanks for the Memories, Pretender by the Foo Fighters, and Heyo Snow by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, what a lineup that is. For only £6 as well. That's not a bank-breaking amount.
No.
And presumably that money is mostly just going to paying
the respective.
Like that's all that money is going to. What a great way of supporting a continually growing community that loves the game.
Yeah.
I can't find a Steam link for this
game,
it's only out which is weird.
It's only Quest.
Yeah, I thought it was out on PC as well, but it is a Quest exclusive.
Yeah.
Potem has done great things with that, and I cannot get mad at that. Other drum games are available on the PC, but if you can, you should be playing Smash Drums.
Yeah, there's one thing
I love it that much. I even went out and bought a T-shirt and sticker, and if I'd have thought about it more, I'd be wearing it instead of my Faulty Muppet T-shirt.
I've got some Smash Drums drumsticks in my bedroom somewhere, which he sent out to me.
Oh,
drumsticks and old.
I want them.
Old like
£5 PayPal.
The old pin badges and stuff, like old style pin badges. I want that on.
$7.50.
I can't remember what else came in it. I know he sent me a hoodie as well. I don't know what else came in it though.
That won't fit me.
But we played but yeah, like one thing I'll say about the latest one, I know it came out in December. But he's got the award for prior to that, was Pretender is the hardest song I've ever played on that. Like, we got metal.
That makes sense.
We got like thrash metal ones last time. And I was like, no way can they get harder than this. No, they can. Pretender, I think, failed it 3 or 4 times I do play it on extreme because I played a lot of it, but I failed.
Okay.
Failed it 2 or 3 times, 3 or 4 times, and when I did actually pass it, I had like 7% left in my life. Like I could have just missed 2 more notes, I would have been dead. And that's still the best I've done. It's really difficult.
It'll test you.
I even messaged Bolton about it afterwards and said Pretender's really, really hard. And he said he was shocked at how hard it was because obviously he maps them. And he said when he got the right, he was mapping it. He was shocked at how hard this song actually is.
It's always great when the developer's like, yeah, I kind of struggle with that.
Yeah.
That's always good news.
Definitely one worth checking out if you haven't played it yet on Quest.
Absolutely, yeah.
You get about 40 odd bass tracks on there, which are more like the ones you expect, the more ones that pop up in different rhythm games. Artists that seem to pop up in them. But it's a mix, a good mix. If you're looking for like the well-known tracks, I mean, some of those artists will be well-known to people anyway. But if you're looking at the well-known tracks,
and speaking of mix, it has a great mixed reality mode as well.
Yep.
Which the podcast you did not too long ago, the Behind the Headset, Buck and sadly it's Bradley were talking about games in mixed reality that kind of don't let you destroy the world.
Yeah.
The Smash Drums mixed reality, you can actually start shooting off bits of your world to expose more of the virtual world.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing you can kind of do between bashing drums, but also the mixed reality of that game works very, very well.
And you can put on paint shop mode, which means in the mixed reality, which basically means every time you smash your drums, if a blob of paint flies out of them, so when you're moving your sticks, you just paint your room with all these different colour paints coming out of your drumstick.
I've not played that. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it's just swinging them, it's splashing paint out of them. So you start colouring your walls in and stuff.
It's such a great implementation of a feature that most people have somewhat struggled, and I think next year it may end up having its own category.
Got its own category this year.
In fact, it's got one this year, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a genre that is going to be hard to ignore.
This is where I thought you were doing like a fantastic segue, because the next award is the best mixed reality.
Yeah, that was totally what I was doing.
I thought, look at this, he's doing fantastic here. Look, he's gonna move on to this next, and then
I missed the list. But yeah, so as Paul just completely ruined my expert segue, the next category is our mixed reality game of the year, which, as well, you may or may not have guessed it, don't think it really saw much of a look in last year.
No.
Wasn't a massive thing. Mixed reality was, and still occasionally at this point in time, remains to be a bit of a gimmick, but some developers take it incredibly seriously.
We've seen some, before we go on to the winner, we've seen some fantastic ones. Well Time Wonders, unbelievable. I mean, I know this is going to let people know these haven't won them, but Well Time Wonders, fantastic use of mixed reality.
Yeah.
I've
not played that, but I very, very interested to take a look at it in the new year. Even the implementation of the mixed reality in Assassin's Creed last year, it was like, oh, this isn't a mixed reality game, but the way they use it seems less gimmicky and more useful. I quite like that. And over the year, we've seen more and more implementations of mixed reality, and we know there's more and more to come. We've had games where we've had gunfights in our rooms. We've mutilated unicorns or made them defecate all over the place. I've had a jam shooting robot come out of my ceiling and attack me in Wallace and Gromit. And apparently there's some sort of mixed reality in a Ghostbusters game that I still haven't played.
You fight Stay Puft fight the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He comes in, he like rips your roof off and stuff. I believe. You have to.
I kind of want to try that. I own the game now, so I should.
One I haven't played yet, which is on my list to play, is the Shattered, which is like a horror game where it looks like you look through windows at people, and it just looks like it's going to be freaky as. But
it looks, actually, from what I saw, I think it was a puzzle game. And looking at that, I was like, why have I not heard more about this game? I was skimming through the releases of the year, and I was like, why is everybody not raving about this game? Why is it just kind of entered into nowhere and not really been displayed much? It kind of shocked me. So I agree. I want to see that game for myself. I can't imagine it's terrible, but why is it just kind of crept out? Shocker, it's not Shattered. Because neither of us have played it, but it does look like it's a good use and implementation of mixed reality. So I'm looking forward to that.
The winner of this award goes to the team our guest was from last month in Creature.
It's no real shock.
Starship Home. This sold me. I mean, I said it in the last month. This sold me that an MR full game can be a thing. Like I said, there's been some good implementations, but I was like, this one sold me. This can actually be its own. Games can work in this, a whole game.
It once again, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the love and care and attention that went into that game, it was an education. Speaking to Mark about that last month. And the kind of you heard us talking to Mark for 2 hours. That conversation went on for a further hour after we stopped the podcast. Like, we were talking to Mark for ages. I got lost, and to the point where I was like, it's real late here and real early where you are. You need to go and have a day, and I need to end mine. But it was just such a joy learning about that game that it just added. I mean, I don't. Maybe that has tainted my decision here, but I don't think so. But knowing the kind of there are things that subconsciously happen playing that game, and it turns out they were very, very intentional. And that's weird, because I played like an hour and a half in that game unintentionally. I meant to play about 10 minutes. But even after sort of that small length of time, I can still mentally see my spaceship in this room. Which is intentional, but really weird that I've kind of created that environment and that relationship with a mixed reality game.
What absolutely blew my mind with it as well was when we were talking to him is he made himself motion sick in MR. Like, with stuff they did, and I thought, that's mad. Like, I still can't figure out how can you get motion sick in MR.
Apparently, it's very possible if you just know the right ways to do it wrong. But it's good, because that means then you know not to do that, which they do. They did it, and they did it very well. So I had a great time playing that game, and I had a great time speaking to Mark about it. And it absolutely... There is another couple of MR games that I haven't had the pleasure that seem close, but Starship Home kind of set the bar for me. As far as MR goes. And so it was a no-brainer for me to give that out.
Same here. Like, it's one of these ones I went in, and when it starts up and it's like, build your spaceship, look after this planet, I thought, God, this is going to be a bit too kiddie for me. But when it pops up, I needed to recharge headset, and I'd plugged my extended battery in. I thought, no, it's not kiddie for me, because I'm still in it.
But then again, it could also very easily be enjoyed by
kids,
a younger audience. It's not impossible, but it's not required that you are a child. To play that game at all.
No, it's just how I felt when I was first starting it. I thought, right, I'm probably gonna turn it off in about 30 minutes. Like, I've seen enough of this. But no, like I said, I plugged my headset battery in and still ran out. Still got the warning. I was like, right, okay, it's definitely not that. I just don't think.
Well, speaking of games that are not made for kids, that you take one look at and say, yeah, I've had enough of this. I think we should probably move on to the next one. Now, this is your world. It is not mine. Winners of this award in the past have been the likes of Switchback on the PlayStation for a game that, well, quite frankly, made us scream and shout a lot. And so this year, we've had some massive entries into the horror genre.
Well, good ones as well.
That Paul knows all about.
But again, there was only going to be one winner for this one. There's like, and that was Madison. Now I know this came about through the pestering of people like PD, people who do a lot of the VR modding, like trying the mods for games like with Vorpex at the time.
Vorpex, UEVR,
and they got a few messages off it saying you need to make this VR, and then oh, okay.
They did. It's one of those games that I've somewhat unanimously heard from just about everybody I know that game was the scariest game they've ever really played.
Scientifically proven to be the
God.
scariest horror game made, apparently.
Sure, yeah. I don't know how you prove that, seeing as it's somewhat subjective, but still, it's yeah. The
You count the poo nuggets left in people's undies afterwards.
Like, you can't pay me enough to play that game. You cannot pay me.
It's so well done. I was at a point where I looked down a hallway and there was a statue slightly lit up. And I knew that was the way I had to go, but I was like, I am not going that way. Because it was only lit up at a set, so little of it was lit up, so you just saw like I think it was just the hands and the face. I was like, I am not going down that hallway. I know I have to go down there, but I am not. And I inched down it so slowly, and it did nothing. And that shows it's got in your brain, like it's psychologically getting you. Because
and that's what a good horror needs to be.
Yeah.
Cheap jump scares are fine. They'll make people jump. But if you truly want to scare people, you have to make them scare themselves. And that game has already freaked me out to the point that I will not touch it.
And they do it good with audio in that as well. Like, they've set it so you hear doors slamming, but you know you've not left the door open. But in your head now, you're like, why is that door just slammed? And it's just, they just play the audio for it. Like, they just put it in every now and then, like, little noises, and you're like, yeah, they don't over rely on. It's got jump scares. They don't over rely on jump scares. A lot of it is your head. That's I think it was Games with T pointed out, because he's the one who likes horror games, like in VR, and he pointed out, and I didn't notice this until he said that, and then I realized I was doing it, and then I've watched other people play it. You know it's scary because people's hands are always in a defensive position. Like
the body language, they're protecting the chest, are they?
Yeah, they're always your hands are always up close to you. Like you're always in a defensive position. Like, and then after he pointed that out, I thought, yeah, that was me actually. I did always have my hands high up. And then I've watched other people play it since then, and I'm just like, it's something I notice every time. The VR hands are never out in front of them; they're always close to them. I'm thinking that's just.
Why do we do this to us? No. Why do you do this to yourselves? I don't do this. This is I noped out of that, and like I say, to this day, nah.
It's one of the sort of games, and there's not many who've done it to me, where I know I've had enough. Like I'm like, I really should continue, especially leading up to the review. I was like, I really should finish playing this. I was like, I just can't do any more of it tonight. Mentally, I can't put up with this for the anymore. Like
you're emotionally drained.
Yeah. And
no, that's fair.
And what's weird, because actually now I've been back in not Madison, a horror game that did that to me when I first played it was also one of the first proper VR horrors I played, and that was Paranormal Activity, which is not actually that bad when you actually look at that.
Yeah, I played Paranormal. Wait, was it Paranormal Activity? Does it end in a ritual?
Yeah,
in like a kitchen.
Yeah.
I played that, and I was like, it was a little bit freaky, but I didn't jump in that game at all.
I think it was just.
I don't know whether it was because I was being macho for the stream or what, but
I think it was like the proper first horror played, like that was made to be horror, and it was just a part where you had to walk towards the kid's bedroom and the music was playing and you could see the shadow on the wall, and I just thought, I am not going in that room.
With the Bop It clown, and it's it was a creepy game, but so back in the DK2 days, it was the Wild West. Anything went, and everything was also a 5-minute just like experiences, so they didn't need to be as long and drawn out and thought out as what a full-on game needs to be. And some of the stuff I did in the DK2 was ridiculous. Like, I'm sure it shortened my life, and that eventually spawned like Affected and the new Affected Hospital, is it, that's coming or something like that? Like I guarantee they've shortened my life. They truly have. Times that I just whip the headset off because just too scared. Like, no, I don't need that in my life. And I think it's stuff like that that's just emotionally scarred me to the point that I'm like, I play VR for fun and joy. Why do I want to force myself into these situations? And so this is where I've just sort of noped out of doing horror games.
I think the other one that made me just say that's enough for tonight was Resi 7. But again, that was when you go into Alma's room and the ball rolls across the floor, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this either. I think there's a theme, like going to a kid's room in any of these horror games, and I'm like expecting the very worst to happen.
It's that my affected and the little girl that absolutely started that for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 7 wasn't scary, but that's because I noticed something that playing it on the non-hardcore mode basically just completely took all of the fear out of it.
Mm.
And that was every time you walk through a door, the game saved. So if you go in that room and die, doesn't matter.
Mm.
There was no consequences to that game. So that game didn't scare me at all.
Yeah.
But I could see why it would freak people out. But I never really overly publicized that, especially when I was playing it, because you want people to watch you and be like, oh, how is he not scared? I'm not scared because I'm immortal.
Yeah.
Basically, I am just going through the motions to get the story on this game because literally there is no consequences.
Yeah, the first ever.
So yeah, if you've been scared to play Resident Evil 7, just play it on normal mode and you're totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want a good scary game, that came out this year. If it's your thing to not want to go to bed on a night, just in case,
howdy it is.
Just get medicine.
Yeah. Backed up downstairs, like, if you rather than laxatives, just medicine.
Yeah.
Wear the brown pants.
Yep. Empty your poo nuggets at the end. You all right?
Oh, that's a better segue than we're ever gonna realize.
Oh my god. Oh god. Right, yeah, let's move on.
Probably giving away the what the game is, but
oh god.
Oh dear.
When we announce this, you'll see why that was a better segue than we could have before.
Oh, so I don't think this category existed last year, did it?
No, but we've had a good bunch of these come out this year. I mean, I think we did the other years anyway, but never one that popped in my mind until this year. I'm just having a mouthful of drink.
So yeah, this category, it's kind of, and to me, it's a marriage that's always been there waiting. It's been low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And people have either just not had the time, need, desire, or funding to actually meet VR in the middle with this. And that would be the plethora of simulator games that exist. Yeah. We've had Job Simulator, but that's not... It's more of a sandbox and a mess around for kids than it is anything else. So Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator... brilliant games and everything, but not enough to warrant its own category. Whereas between pressure washing, lawn mowing, all of I've got car detailing simulator, I've got Dig VR, which is basically a digger simulator. There are so many different ways to simulate real world tasks in VR now. I think it definitely needed its own category. And in the past, the likes of Wrench, I've very much enjoyed Wrench, and I actually used Wrench to change the brakes on my own car, and it worked. It was very, very, it was almost spot on, and I wasn't even working on the same car. Maybe that's a testament to cars, maybe that's a testament to the developer, I don't know. But it was very, very similar, both in real world and Wrench, and I wouldn't have had the confidence to maybe jump into the real world version of doing that without jumping into VR first.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think this as well. What sometimes happens with this genre game is some just aren't simulated overly well. For example, like I mean, they don't aim to be, and that's the thing. But then when there's ones that are so realistic, you're like, oh. So for example, House Flipper, you simulate cleaning the house up and building the toilet, like putting the piping in for toilets and stuff, but it just doesn't simulate what you're actually doing, what you'd actually be doing in real life, like a jigsaw or puzzle rather than.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger problems with House Flipper is an incredibly successful flat version existed, and it was not a port of that game at all. So I went into House Flipper wanting, because the flat game I started playing sort of last September, October time and got ridiculously hooked on it to the point that I was on a flight and I was like, I just need to play House Flipper. And then I was like, the VR version, amazing. And then you get the VR version, you're like, it's not even like got the essence of the flat game to it. Like,
Yeah.
the soul of the game is not here.
No.
And so, yeah. But they don't need to be, photorealistic as Endream showed us with Pressure Washer Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
It's very far from photorealism, although it's incredibly similar to the flat game.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely flawless. I've sunk countless hours into that. Wait, that game didn't come out this year. I'm not spoiling it.
No, that came out last year.
Cool. There we go. Surgeon Simulator, I would love to say I've played and tried, apart from the fact that every time I launched it, it just gave me a black screen. I don't know whether they've ever fixed that since, but it didn't work the last time I tried it, which is a shame. But yes, we have had a plethora of simulators this year, but one stood out. One reached out to Paul and slapped him in the face, and I was inclined to agree.
Yeah, this one is, and this is why it goes so well with that end of the Madison conversation. It is Mud Runner. Mud Runner VR.
Yes.
Is that
Mud Runner VR? I believe that was a Quest exclusive as well.
It was, but it's out on PC now.
Oh, cool. I'll grab you a link for the PC version then. Yeah, Mud Runner VR, a game where you're essentially driving a four-wheel drive car
through
mud.
Different, very different terrain. Mud, but like you might have some light mud where you might have deep mud where if you put the wrong gear in, you're gonna get stuck in the mud and stuff. It's very realistic.
Yeah. The developer has made many a different game, including Snow Runner.
Mm-hmm.
They're responsible for the World War Z game. They're massive pedigree to them. Evil Dead, Dakar Rally, Ghostbusters, the video game? Really? That was them? I love that game. It's like the third Ghostbusters movie. But yeah, they also made Mud Runner available both on PC and on the Meta Quest. Which version did you play, just out of curiosity?
I played it on the Quest. What worried me is when it came out when they announced it on the Quest was I was like, the visuals look so bad. I was like, it's like such a game that depends on visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't look fantastic.
I would argue that the physics of the cars
that's what I mean,
is maybe a step above the visuals.
Yeah, but it looked better in the headset than it did on the trailer. Like I was like, actually, you haven't done too bad of a job. But again, the physics on the truck and the tearing up of the mud looked fantastic on the Quest as well. If you got out and you looked at the mud where you'd maybe gone through the part that you had to battle through rather than managing to avoid it, it was like the tearing up of the mud looked realistic on the Quest. And I think they're the two most really, the physics of the engine and actually getting the mud looking like it's tearing up is probably the most important things to tackle first before you think of what trees look like. I'm
not gonna lie, that's currently on sale. I'm halfway tempted. It's currently £9 on the Meta Quest, and
definitely worth £9.
You're selling me on it.
Definitely worth £9. Definitely. Got story mode, free play mode. Got some.
They've had various patches since release as well. Currently above a 4-star rating on the Meta Store.
But yeah,
Genuinely impressive, says one person 20 days ago. So yeah, I'm very tempted by that.
but yeah, definitely worth a.
Certainly worth
Well,
£9 a year time.
Yeah. The only
Oh.
prior to that on flat screen, I'd only played SnowRunner. I think it was SnowRunner 1, the first SnowRunner I played, which I enjoyed. And then when I saw that was coming, I was like, ooh, we're actually bringing one.
I think was it Mudrunner or no? It's not Mudrunner. There was one that was Dirty Gears or something. What was it called?
30 gears.
Where you were basically a car going out to get stuck in the mud and then get yourself free.
I am not sure.
I played that a lifetime ago, and I can't remember what it was called. But that seems very. So in this game, you have missions, presumably.
Yeah, so it'll be like this vehicle's stuck there, so you go out and you get out the truck and you go and attach the wench and stuff to it and then pull it out.
The wench.
The wench.
Get out there, wench.
But yeah, stuff like that. Or something's tipped, like a truck's tipped over, and you need to go out and get it back on it, and then take it to the repair bay and stuff. Winch, that's it, the winch.
No, it's wench from now on. I insist we call it the wench. Get the wench out there. Get out of the mud.
My wording isn't wording today. That's the problem.
It'll soon be Christmas. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, winch. But yeah, it's really, like I said, it's different type of missions. I've also got to sometimes like, oh, I need to go and pull in there, and I need to put some petrol in and stuff into your truck and stuff. Sometimes getting to the station to get the petrol from is just as treacherous as the job you go into. It's just a good
Spin tires. That's the one I'm thinking of.
spin tires.
Yeah, it was a PC game, and like this, you had to go out and get yourself stuck in the mud. It doesn't seem to have a Steam page anymore, which makes me think that maybe it's
Gone.
A defunct or dead studio. I don't know, but
Sometimes they just take them off, don't they?
yeah, it seems to be the kind of game that I'd be into. I spent so long playing Spin Tires.
But yeah, it's definitely one worth getting into and playing. Definitely worth one getting into playing. Especially it's £9 until, like I said, I think the sale it's going on, that Quest sale, Metastore sale till the 6th of January. So maybe £9 of your money left from Santa might
Certainly
go well towards that.
Certainly possible, yeah. Fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Which does bring us nicely to the whole family indeed.
Mm-hmm.
VR can be a very solo adventure. It can be isolating, and you can be in a room full of people in a VR headset and be completely alone.
Yeah.
But some games strive to take you away from that solidarity. That's not the word I'm looking for. Solitude. And they drag other people in with you as well. Winners of this award in the past have included and only ever been Walkabout Mini Golf, because this is the second year doing this. Yes, the Multiplayer of the Year award.
Again, some solid candidates for this. It's been great multiplayer.
Crazy the kind of games we've had this year. Mm-hmm. A lot of them recently, which is a shame because we'll have to catch them next year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's. I think last year we threw honorable mentions to the likes of Demeo. Demeo Battles is just a nice nugget-sized version of Demeo, which I thoroughly recommend you try. There's been thinking about it, I can't remember the release dates of all of them, but some games that didn't even enter my head until right now that I'm like, I kind of want to change my vote, but they're locked in, people.
They're locked in, yeah. I mean, it could have easily gone to Walkabout again, but because
that's it. All the continuous ongoing support.
Yeah.
Once again, I think that was my vote for ongoing support was actually Walkabout Mini Golf, because I seem to blink and then there's I think I'm 4 DLCs behind. Like I just blink and they've released a bunch more content and I didn't even realize. It's amazing the things that they're doing with Walkabout Mini Golf.
Leave like
So Mighty Coconut, props to you for that.
I think the Christmas,
but you're not getting an award.
I think the Christmas one was the 30th course for it or something. That's mad.
That's crazy. That game is the gift that just keeps on giving, and I'm not referring to the developers and their bank balance.
No,
I feel like very minimal profit is made from that game, and it's just pure joy.
I think there's probably the amount of work they put into those each new course, and the charge is it $2.99 for them or something? Like,
yeah, it's incredibly affordable. Like you could buy that game. I'm gonna have a look on Steam at how much Walkabout Mini Golf, how much you can buy that game for right now. For like 0 to 60, just the game and all of the DLC. So wait. The hole-in-one bundle doesn't come with everything. 23 different DLCs with the hole-in-one bundle. That's £55. And then they're included in it, so you don't want those ones. The Jim Henson edition, that's all cosmetic.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, there's 23 DLCs or 22. Browse all 22 DLCs. So yeah, you can buy the entirety, the game and all of the courses that have followed for less than £60. That's a modern day PlayStation game, and you are going to get so much more fun out of Walkabout Mini Golf. Why are we not giving this an award again? I'm just gushing over and over and over about Walkabout Mini Golf, because it's just insane. And actually, the most recent DLC is not even in a course, but it is still incredibly relevant. So the multiplayer game I've had probably some of the most fun with, and this game is so dramatically underrated.
Yeah, it is.
That it annoys me.
It is.
In a big bad way, it annoys me. And it's one of those games, and I say this about many games, so it's not that special. But if you were to say to me, have you got a spare 5 minutes? I want to play this. I'm going to find the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I am. Because I love it. Christmas is a great time for getting together with family and playing games, sometimes around the table, but sometimes families, they are distant, they're far apart, and you're not able to do that. And this game is definitely going to bring you together and tear you apart in that fact.
Yeah.
Paul, the multiplayer game of the year for the the VRverse podcast, if you would be so kind.
It is Exploding Kittens VR. And
Exploding Kittens
very
VR.
Well deserved.
Yeah, their implementation, the way they have essentially taken not even the flat screen game, although you can buy it on your mobile phones, or if you have a Netflix subscription, you actually have the mobile app available on your phone as well. But the way that they've brought that flat game into VR, and implementation, it's all absolutely, you'd lose nothing from the tabletop, the card game. and it's perfect. It's absolutely a perfect recreation. And then they've added different elements just to help with the VR side of things as well. There's reasons to play, there's skins, and there's different things you can decorate your avatar with. Completely optional.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you, but it's always that little bit of fun. And yeah, I think it's dangerously underrated.
Yeah.
It has bots, which most people accuse of cheating. And the reason why I think that means they're not cheating is because random is never truly random.
Yeah.
If you have certain things that are doing random stuff and it appears random to you, that means there is an algorithm at work that is forcing it to appear random.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas truly random stuff, you will have repetition that just seems completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
And to me, this game has that repetition, which makes me think that it truly is random.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes that game so much fun. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically Russian roulette with cards.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the VR,
that's the best way I can describe it.
In the VR implementation of it, it's like gachapon balls, isn't it? Like little balls that come out and you open it.
Yeah, like golden balls. They're just in a box, and you open the ball, and if you're lucky, it's a helpful card. Or if you're like me, the very first time I played it with Scorpio and Kragadon, it's a bomb. Immediately, it was a bomb, and I was like, "Fuck you, game." And diffused it, and then went back on with my life, terrified of every single ball that followed it. It was fantastic, and I will happily, even though it can literally take 2 or 20 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed every part of it. But there is actually an avatar pack for Walkabout Mini Golf.
Yeah, you can go on Taco Cat. There's a Taco Cat avatar.
Yeah.
I wanted to go on my Taco Cat.
So I was
club.
like, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that was a thing. I kind of want to throw cash at that just because I dig the VR game.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get to play it with the devs, like, probably about a couple of months before its release, and the first time I'd played it, I'd never even really played. I'd never played the card game, so even if you haven't played the card game, it's very easy to pick up. Once, like, I got them to explain it to me because I was like, and they told me, and then, like you, the first game I played with the devs, I opened it and it was the kitten, diffused it, and then once you defuse it, you get to place the ball back in. And I counted around the table. I was like, "There's 3 more people. I'll put the ball there." Then after I put it in, I was like, "I've just put it so it's going to return to me, and I don't have anything to defuse it anymore."
There is some messed up stuff.
God, I've done that wrong.
Yeah, it's great, but I will literally sometimes, if I'm just sat there, I will literally stare the person next to me in the eye and then just place it on top of the pile and smile at them, because it could just absolutely ruin a family night. It's brilliant in that sense. And then they're just like, yeah, I want you to know I literally just killed you. So smile and just take that and just let them watch you place it down. Just some of the best nights I've had has been playing that game. And the thing is, I lose that game constantly. Like all the time. I will be playing that game with my wife. I don't think I've ever beaten her at that game. Not one time. But I will still play it every single time.
I'd gone in with me, Scottish gamer, midlife gamist, and gaming veteran. We went into it and we had 2 randoms with us because is it 6 or 5 at a table? I can't remember. 5, I
want
think.
to say 5.
Yes, 5. So yeah, so we had this random.
There's 4 kittens.
Yeah, we had this random guy with us, and it was a kid, and luckily he wasn't one of these screamy kids, but just a random who came in, and the poor kid. I think Scottish used a fly swatter, then veteran used a fly swatter, midlife used a fly swatter, and I used a fly swatter. Came in with like 8 balls to pick out.
Oh, you just ruined that kid. That's brilliant.
But we didn't do it on purpose. It's the only thing all of us had to like not make us have to take the like hit. We're like, oh, we've got a fly swatter.
it's defensive play. Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
It can be. You see, that's the other thing. While I'm talking about the random chance of things, it can also be a game of strategy.
Yeah.
In a big bad way.
Yeah.
It takes your brains.
Yeah. There's some things I look at and go, well, I won't use that yet because that's a decent one to have for later on in case it goes down to just like to me and someone else. You just sometimes take the risk of saving stuff just in case.
Yeah, you do. It's almost as if it's borderline a puzzle.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To play that at times.
Mm-hmm. Goes on nicely to the next award, which is the best puzzle game. Again, there's been some solid puzzle games. Some multiplayer, some single player, some a mix of both. Like your escape rooms are going to fall into this and stuff. Like there's so many different ways it can be a puzzle game. Like we said, House of Da Vinci maybe could have had a shout in if it wasn't December. That just missed the cutoff as well. It was like the 3rd of December or something that came out, wasn't it? Or the 6th or something like that. It just missed the cutoff.
It was close, yeah.
Some go back to a more old school approach to puzzle games. And I wasn't surprised to see this one pop up when you put the games forward. I know you like these sort of games.
I do, yeah. And admittedly, this game is actually, I believe it came out on the Quest a while ago.
But only the first episode. Or the first 2 episodes.
But it did come out on PlayStation this year, so I'm having it, dang it.
And I got a full release on Quest this year. I only had the first 1 or 2 episodes on Quest till this year.
Oh, there we go. So it totally counts.
Yeah.
Once again, this game could quite easily have fallen in the art style category for me as well.
Yeah, it could have, yeah.
It's a very sort of unique sense of that kind of process, but
yep,
I think it was a very charming puzzle game.
Definitely. Do you want to announce which ones to get this year?
So we're avoiding it because the word is kind of a little bit weird. It's Retropolis 2, Never Say Goodbye, the sequel to, obviously, The Secret of Retropolis.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was a 3rd part planned. Don't quote me on that. But it's following on from the first one, and it was such... There's some great little puzzles in there, lovely atmosphere, lovely environment. I love the world and the style as well.
Yeah.
It absolutely, Peanut Butter nailed it with that one in a big bad way.
Yeah. Funny thing was, is I never played The Secret of Retropolis until this one got announced, and they reached out to me and said, are you interested in having just the first episode when that went on the App Lab, I believe it was originally.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try this first episode, and I was like, does it carry on from the first one? Because I've never played the first one. And they're like, yeah. And I said, oh, okay. And they just sent me access to the first one and the second one, the part of the second one, so I could play the first one. I don't know why it just, until then, it just really hadn't appealed to me. But then once I'd played it, I was like, why did I wait? Like, why have I not played this?
I have a theory, and that's because you couldn't shoot anybody. I think you've grown as a human and as a gamer.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, when the first one come out, I just...
no longer a priority.
Yeah, to be fair, when the first one come out, I was normally just in shooters. Like, if I wasn't reviewing something, I'd be playing Contractors or Standout or Population 1, and I've sort of moved away from that. Like, the more shooters I play now are more arcadey. Than like, oh, I need to be in like Onward, I need to be in there. It's always like, even Crossfire Sierra Squad was arcadey. Like,
yeah, it was. We need to get back to that, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, an honorable mention once again, same developer, Peanut Butter. They actually released at the beginning of the year a free-to-play mixed reality puzzle game called Dot Full Stop Line dot line. And that was, I couldn't believe it was free. That was amazing what they did there. Very thoroughly enjoyable and a great implementation of mixed reality, which had I have remembered that game a couple of weeks ago, it may potentially have actually been a fight between that and Starship Home for mixed reality game, because I really dug the implementation of that, even if it was a little bit more towards the gimmicky, whereas Starship is absolutely a game. It truly is. But yeah, that's a great implementation. And they have a new game coming soon to VR.
Yep, I was just about to shout that one out.
Yeah, I think that might be a contender for the art direction next year.
Yeah.
Because that looks creepy yet very interesting.
And plays like Metropolis. It's still a point-and-click puzzle game, but it's a point-and-click horror puzzle game.
Yeah. Which is going to put me in a weird position, because I really want to play it, but also horror.
I think it's going to rely more on jump scares than anything that, though, because I think with its style, with the style of point and click, it's going to be click on something and something's going in my head.
Possibly, yeah.
But we don't know.
Which makes sense.
It could be absolutely terrifying.
Here's hoping.
It's one I will definitely be looking forward to playing.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it, but also terrified at the same time. So hopefully it's not too scary.
So if you haven't played Metropolis, it is a, just mentioned, more point and click puzzle game than a which harks back to the good old days of puzzle games. Discworld and things, point and click. Sam and Max, I know it's a big fan.
Good old games. You make me feel properly old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did grow up playing Monkey Island. Which is probably why my desire to, play the Mist and things like that these days it's persisted. It's always been my go-to, playing Monkey Island, Discworld, Loom, Fate of Atlantis, like all of those old LucasArts games. Just what drove me in a big bad way. So yeah, I they do great things, and I hope that studio goes on for a very, very long time.
Yes. So next one, I know we mentioned that the name's just gone out of my head. We mentioned the Starship Home. I mean, we didn't say that. We even said that in the last few sentences about the MR on that. We mentioned it could be enjoyed by anyone, the whole family. Leads us on to our next award, Best Family Game.
New category once again this year. Not really something we dabbled with last year.
Yeah. Just thought it'd be nice to put it in. The game that's made for everyone, that everyone can enjoy, is always something to celebrate. Never mind who you put in it. Your grandma, nephew, whatever.
I don't know if my grandma would deal well with this game, to be fair.
It's one that's easy to understand. They might not be very good at it, but it's one I can understand. It's one to understand. You just tell them do this and this. They might suck at it, but they might be alright at it.
Let us know if your grandma's played. We're very much
yeah. Did your grandma like this? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, there was a few games I could, like Starship Home could have been in this category. But again, I think this is one where there was just a winner that we both thought this should be in there. This should be winning this award. To be honest, see who it is.
Yes, it's a game that it was a bit of a no-brainer for me once again. we on outside of the PlayStation world have been looking for a family-friendly platformer for a very, very long time, and this is the closest we've ever come to our own Astrobot. And of course, if you've not already guessed, it is Max Mustard by Toast. Is it Toast Games?
Toast Interactive.
Toast Interactive. There you go. Max Mustard by Toast Interactive. It is absolutely just charming and adorable, and everything that we needed from a platformer in VR.
Yeah.
I say it's the closest I've ever seen to Astrobot since Astrobot.
Yeah.
And seeing as we're not going to get that, thank you, Sony, we'll take it.
Yeah.
So well done, Toast. Great work on that.
Good boss fights. Good platforming. One of the best platform levels I've ever played is in this game, and that is the one where you've got to platform to the beat of the music.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. That is, it's a great mechanic. It's something that they have almost not so much stolen from Astrobot, but you can kind of see like the DNA. They took one look at Astrobot and thought, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
And they did. They nailed it.
Yep, there's little mud pups you've got to find around the level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just all well designed.
And if you need to sell it to the child in the room, just say, look, it's got a bus on it. And then they'll be like, oh, like Fortnite. And then they'll play as well. That'd be
bus. It's bright colours.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, well done, Toast. Again, we'll mention these again. Not for another award, don't worry. Why would people be worried about that? But because I said we'll mention them later, I was thinking they might think, oh, they've won something else. But no, they haven't.
I don't know what they would win. The blank game, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, big congratulations to them making a fantastic platformer, like you said. Feelings of Astrobot to it, which I know caused a lot of upset to people when that was announced about any sort of VR support. Not even. But
it's a shame because it's a system seller, but it's just it goes to show that this year has been a great year for VR, but it's also been mildly disappointing.
Yeah.
We all kind of feel a little bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi on the side of the. I'm making references you're not going to get. It's fine. On the side of the lava pit, just screaming at Sony like, "You were the chosen one." And they've just kind of abandoned us. So it is what it is. They've dropped the ball in a big bad way on the PSVR 2, or at least it seems to be the sentiment within the VR community. The people that are keeping that headset alive are the wonderful people of the we've been mentioning tonight, the developers.
Yeah.
The people that have made your Underdogs and your Metro Awakenings and your Madison and things like that. These developers are keeping that headset alive. If your only entry into VR is a PSVR 2, then these people are at least keeping dust off of that headset. Yeah. So props to these developers because Sony have just abandoned us.
Dropped the ball big time. I couldn't even think of a segue for that. Sorry.
Well, it's been quite a.
Dropping balls is
adventure
full of action.
We love some ball dropping action. I don't know. Let's quickly move on. Move on.
Next award is Best Action Adventure. I remember who took this last year. We did have this one last year, didn't we?
I don't think we did. No, we didn't have action and adventure. We had shooter. We had puzzle game, which was taken by the seventh guest. Shout out to the seventh guest. Technical achievement for the Red Matter 2, because that's just astounding. And then, of course, the action adventure category that we had last year, which was taken by Resident Evil 4 VR.
That was it. We did well.
Nobody noticed that I said it didn't happen. Yeah, brilliant. Well done. Yeah, Resident Evil 4. It was admitted. I still haven't finished that. My viewers need to like crack the whip and be like, finish this game, fat ass. So I can say that because they are in the chat. So yeah, that's a thing. So last year, Resident Evil 4. This year, I think it's going to be hard to guess.
Yeah, really difficult. we're talking about Sony not really doing much with their platform. Where Meta have got one of the best VR games I've played in a long time with their internal studio Camouflage. Of course, it is for Batman Arkham Shadow. I don't think there's much surprise in that.
No, didn't they get Game of the Year at the awards or something recently as well?
At the Game Awards.
It seems fairly unanimous.
Yeah.
People are enjoying Batman in a big bad way, and rightly so. I frequently throw VR as something that I cannot experience in flat games, and the experience and the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And the moment that because you start off, and spoilers for those of you that actually know, the point is there is a moment where you look down and you realize you are Batman.
Yeah.
And I just grinned like I'd been huffing the Joker toxin. I was just grinning because I'm like, oh yeah, I am Batman. And I did the Christian Bale gruff sort of voice for like 2+ hours straight. And I was like, I don't care. I need to keep doing this because this is just so much fun.
Yeah. This was one. I mean, I know we spoke about when it came out in PC, but it's one where I did not know how they were going to get the Arkham experience into virtual reality. And mainly the combat. I was like, how do you control that combat? Because that combat was so perfectly designed on the flat screen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how do you get that in virtual reality?
And you can tell that they basically sat there with a gigantic blueprint that is every single Arkham game, and went, right, okay, let's play it here. Now let's play it here. That feels right.
Yeah.
And if it didn't feel right, they went back and they tweaked it, and they did everything they possibly could because translating that game into VR, like you say, that is no small task.
No.
Now, having the powerhouse of Meta behind you, I imagine, was incredibly helpful. But Camouflage, they did what, Iron Man?
Iron Man.
And Meta were like, we want Iron Man. So they just bought Camouflage, and then they got Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then that's it, right? Have they done anything else?
Not in VR.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, and they're making Batman, and you're like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Batman? Okay. But they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it. I assume that they have some sort of Rocksteady connection to this. Like, surely, because if not, Rocksteady have got to be like, we kind of own all of that shit, yo. We own all of that, because that's basically our intellectual property that you've got there. Because if you told me the same devs made it, I'd be like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's unbelievable what they did with it. In my head, I thought Iron Man was so well done, but you've just got to make someone fly. Really?
Yeah.
Get the flying and
it,
shooting mechanic right, and you're all right with Iron Man. I was like, especially when it was Arkham, I was like, that everything's so fluid about the flat screen version of that. Like, you need to get it that fluid in VR. I don't know how you're going to do it. Like, even like the Predator system and stuff, you've got to get it right. People know what to go in and expect. And after I'd played it, I did go around some of like the Arkham channels, like based on Arkham lore and stuff, and people had been out and bought a Quest 3 just to get
purely for it.
Yeah, and
that makes sense, and it's worth it.
And all of them are absolutely loving it and saying it's perfect. Like, they've done everything, they've got it like so well matched and stuff. And I thought, that's like testament that, because these are people who are gonna live and bleed about this game, like live and die about this game. Sorry, like they're not gonna take any imperfections.
If you are considering a Quest, by all means, give it a few weeks. If you don't get one at Christmas, you can still get Arkham free until April on qualifying purchases, I believe. So it might even be the end of April. But the point is, yeah, you've still got a good couple of months if you don't get what you want for Christmas. Buy a Quest. 3S is honestly, this may drip into the next category, but the Quest 3S. On paper, you're like, nah, but that is a whole lot of headset for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And to me, it is a no-brainer purchase. I very nearly bought one for my brother just because I think he should have one.
I could say
It's
if I didn't already have
that good.
If I didn't already have my Quest 3, I'd not bother buying one. I would get a 3S.
Yeah.
Because
the 3 is lovely, don't get me wrong. It's that panel and those lenses are astonishing. They're great. It is probably one of, if not the best headset that I own. But the 3S is, if you think about it on paper, it could and should technically perform better than a Quest 3 because it's got all of the brains of a Quest 3, but it's not got as complex of a panel to drive. So it can run at a lower resolution, therefore giving you better performance on games. And that's crazy that that's a thing. So, and all the people that are on Quest 2s but didn't want to spend the £500 to get a Quest 3, you can now enter a world of mixed reality in full color for a very, very good price. And Batman, with that being like 40 odd quid, that takes that headset down to about 250 quid. Because if you've got a Quest 3S, you want Batman. So it's just more money saving for me.
Definitely.
So that's 250 quid for what is basically, I like I say, I cannot advise another way of getting into VR right now. I couldn't do it. The 3S is the best possible way of doing it. Even if you've got a gaming PC, you can buy a PSVR, and buying one in the sale is a fine idea. 350 quid, I think they went for in Black Friday, which is a good bargain. But then by the time you've bought the box to go with it and this, that, and the other, just buy a Quest 3S. You'll have a great time.
One thing I always say when quests come up is, love or hate Meta, they're the ones that are driving VR at the moment. They are the driving force. They are making
They've made some questionable choices,
but they're making it affordable.
Definitely. I mean, rest in peace to Ready at Dawn. You know, we should probably have like an in memoriam section.
Yeah.
In the award show, like the Oscars,
especially this year, because there's been a lot of casualties this
year. Yeah, there truly have. Ready at Dawn, XR Games. I think that Starship Troopers might be the last we ever see from them, which is a shame. Is it XR Game?
XR Games.
It is XR Games, right?
Yeah.
I worry because there's the people that make Zero Caliber.
Yeah, that's X.
God damn it.
I was going to say that's X Real Games, but it's not. Is it X something? Is it X Real? I know X Real are the glasses. I'm sure they're called.
X Real are the glasses.
They're called.
It's Magic Leap and Leap Motion all over again. But yeah, so the people that make Starship Troopers and Hitman, I think they laid off all bar about 3 people in that studio. Which is horrible, horrible, horrible to hear. End Dreams have laid people off. There have been setbacks and cutbacks and layoffs throughout all of the gaming industry, and VR is no different. And we are in such a niche at times that we can't always weather the storm as well as others do. Hopefully the people... There are a number of people that I've spoken to, VR dev-wise, that don't play VR. Which is weird. So it's likely that once that VR career path has closed for them, they're going to move on to something not VR, which is a shame because we've had some amazing games from these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year. How did we get here?
I don't know. We'll just move on.
Hardware.
Hardware. I think
That's where we're getting. So the Quest 3S is fantastic hardware, but do you know what is hardware? Fantastic hardware this year.
I'll let you talk about this one because you're the one with the experience with it.
So from headsets to head straps, we've had all kinds of different hardware come out this year. We've had new iterations of the Bobo and the Kiwi head straps, which whichever camp you fall into, generally you're probably having a great time. Those head straps, the revisions of them, by all accounts, are very, very nice and comfy and fun and superb. But then every now and again you get another peripheral that elevates your VR gaming experience. For me, the likes of a haptic vest, it's like the next evolution of gaming, from the rumble in your pad to now the rumble in your body. That has been a revolution for me in VR. And this year, the biggest revolution that I've had has been my chair. The hardware of the year, or peripheral of the year, for me has been the Roto VR the Roto VR chair. The Roto VR Explorer, for those of you that don't know, is a motorized chair that will essentially turn you, which will both reduce motion sickness, because one of the reasons why you get motion sickness in the world is your eyes tell your brain that you're moving, but your body tells your brain that you're not. So your brain thinks that you have taken something, you're tripping balls, and you need to vomit to eject the toxic stuff that you've got in your system. And the Roto VR, because of the way you're turning, and it actually physically turns you, your body says, yep, no, that tracks. My eyes and my body are in sync, so it can reduce motion sickness. And then on top of that, I was playing Clawball earlier in the year. And the shelf behind me used to sit at a nice 90-degree angle, whereas now it's kind of sloped down because I maybe whacked it whilst playing Clawball. Whereas this is going to allow me to sit in one space, surrounded. You just put your arms out, do a full rotation, realize you're not going to hit anything, and you're perfect. And you're never going to leave that spot, which means there's no danger of you punching something and gone, or Clawball or any other game like that. As long as the game has a seated mode, it is compatible with this chair, which is fantastic. They do have an SDK where you can actually implement it yourself. So the likes of Dig VR that I mentioned earlier, you can literally be rotated as if you were inside of a digger. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. It elevates that experience so much more. I wish that more games, and I keep prodding different developers to be like, you should use this in your game. And one or two of them are like, maybe we should. So hopefully we can see more implementation for the Roto VR. But for me, that is the absolute best bit of hardware that has come into this building that's crossed my threshold this year.
Yeah.
So props to Roto VR. It is an astonishing bit of kit.
Yep, it's something I'm interested in trying out. I will one time.
Yeah, totally. I would bring it to you, but it weighs a metric ton.
And I'll come to you one time. We'll have to sort it out.
So you will have to come here.
Yeah, we'll sort it out one time. Soon. At the beginning of the year swing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So you mentioned previously we have can't say the word, penultimate award. Couldn't say it then, it wouldn't come out of my mouth. We mentioned it earlier, we do have a viewer listener award, and this year we had 3 standout games that we put out to vote because they all got the same amount of mentions throughout the thingy, and they've all got awards already. There was Metro, Batman, and Max Mustard all had the same amount of like this game, so we put it out on a poll to make the final decision. And the winner of the award this year went to Batman Arkham Shadow. Don't think there's much more we need to say because we've just spoke about this.
We've gushed about this over and over again. Yeah,
two awards ago.
A mildly close race. Batman took it with 46% of the viewer vote. 30.8 said Metro, and then 23.1 little Max Mustard holding her own against The Dark Knight with 23.1%. But yeah, Batman, clear winner, nearly half of the votes. So well done once again. Camouflage Games, Batman Arkham Shadow. It's a system seller, and so rightly so.
Yeah.
It truly is. A vote that you and I agreed with. Wouldn't you say?
Sorry, I managed to unplug my headphones. I was like,
So
I was plugging them back in, and I looked back out. I was thinking, please, he's still talking. He hasn't just asked me a question.
for the one time I'm actually not talking, you needed me to be. Yeah, I was just saying how the public voted Batman their game of the year, and it's a vote that you and I kind of agreed with as
Yeah.
well, isn't it?
Yeah. So from that, we move on to our game of the year, the final award, and like Doc said, we agreed with the viewers and listeners, and this again was like another one that we both were like, it's got to be, and that Batman.
Yeah, it had to be Batman. So the hat trick for Arkham Shadow, clean sweep.
Yeah.
Batman takes the award for the VRverse Podcast Game of the Year 2024. Arkham Shadow, well done, Camouflage, once again, for just a tour de force. To think that game is only on mobile headsets.
Yeah.
My God, what it could be with a PlayStation or a PC behind it.
But
I'd shudder to think how they would deal with it. The witchcraft they have done implementing the visual and the graphics in that game, just it's astounding. They've nailed every aspect of it. Perfection in mobile format.
Yeah. The experience you get with the MetaQuest version is, I was like, I'd be happy with this on the PC. Like, it could be better, but I'd be happy if this is what they give me on PC. I would be happy with it. Like,
yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Absolutely. Once again, a million different honorable mentions we could come out with. As we were going through this, we'd locked everything down. I also turned around to Paul and said, "You do realize Arizona Sunshine 2 came out last December, right?" And we were like, "Oh fuck,
yeah,
damn it! Do we throw something at Arizona Sunshine 2? Because it's Arizona Sunshine. More of that is always going to be welcome." But
it's been
we gave him Metro, so don't get mad, Vertigo. We still love you.
It's such a probably the strongest year for VR we've had for a while. In relation to what's been released, and so it's like even more testament to the fact that whoever won Game of the Year, because there's been that many great games this year.
It truly has so many games. I'd love to honor them all. I would.
Yeah,
but you can't.
No. That is the end of the awards. We've got a nice little thing for the end that we're going to switch over to. So we'll just say goodbye for now. I mean, on the back of Batman winning all these awards, it's worked out quite well, because we're joined next month by Ryan Payton from Camouflage. He's going, well, it'll be pre-recorded because he's in a place where it's Japan, so it's the hours are that bad. It's either
I was about to say Japan. I was like, am I wrong?
It's either we record early or they record early. It's stupid early, so we'd rather.
Time zones are a thing, people. It is what it is.
Yeah, so that'll be pre-recorded, but we'll have an interview with him on next month's episode. So we'll get to talk to him about Batman and the process behind Batman.
Well, thank you, Paul, for the year.
Yep, and thank you for the year. It's another year of the podcasting as well. So
12 more in our back pocket. And then, of course, you, the viewer.
The lovely viewers, listeners, thank you very much for being with us for another year. In this time.
Have a safe festive time, whatever you do or do not do during this period.
Yeah.
Some people are Jewish, that's fine. But yeah, we're now off until next year, I'll see you in the new year, if not before.
Yep. Same here. Thank you everyone again for a great year. And now let's go over to Best in VR.
Not our work, by the way.
Best in VR has done a nice thing that recaps all the fantastic games that we've had in 2024. So we're going to switch over that. Well, thank you, everyone. And until next year, bye for now.